Yashar, Jasher, chapter 7. And these are the names of the sons of Noah, Japheth, Ham, and Shem. And children were born to them after the flood, for they had taken wives before the flood. These are the sons of Japheth, Gomer, Magog, Madai, Yawan, Tuval, Meshech, and Tiras, 7 sons. And the sons of Gomer were Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Togarmah. And the sons of Magog were Elichanaph and Luval. And the children of Madai were Achon, Zilo, Chazoni, and Lot. And the sons of Yawan were Elisha, Tarshish, Shittim, and Dodanim. And the sons of Tuval were Arifi, Kesed, and Tarari. And the sons of Meshech were Dedon, Zaron, and Shavashni. And the sons of Tiras were Beniv, Gerah, Luperion, and Gilach. These are the sons of Japheth according to their clans, and their numbers in those days were about 460 men. And these are the sons of Ham, Cush, Mitzrayim, Put, and Canaan, 4 sons. And the sons of Cush were Seba, Havilah, Savta, Ramah, and Savteka. And the sons of Ramah were Sheva and Dedan. And the sons of Mitzrayim were Ludim, Anamim, and Pathros, Kasloth, and Kaftor. And the sons of Put were Gebal, Hadan, Benah, and Adan. And the sons of Canaan were Zidon, Cheth, Armari, Girgashi, Chiwi, Arki, Sini, Arodi, Zemodi, and Chemothi. These are the sons of Ham according to their clans, and their numbers in those days were about 730 men. And these are the sons of Shem, Elam, Ashur, Arpachshad, Ludim, and Aram, 5 sons. And the sons of Elam were Shushan, Mahul, and Harmon. And the sons of Ashar were Mirus and Mokhil. And the sons of Arpachshad were Shelach, Anar, and Eshkol. And the sons of Ludim were Pethor and Bizayon. And the sons of Aram were Utz, Chol, Gether, and Mash. These are the sons of Shem according to their clans, and their numbers in those days were about 300 men. These are the generations of Shem. Shem brought forth Arpachshad, and Arpachshad brought forth Shelach, and Shelach brought forth Eber. And to Eber were born 2 children. The name of one was Peleg, for in his days the sons of men were divided, and in the latter days the earth was divided. And the name of the second was Yoktan, meaning that in his day the lives of the sons of men were diminished and lessened. These are the sons of Yoktan, Almodad, Shelef, Chazarmaweth, Yerach, Hadaron, Uzal, Dikla, Oval, Avimael, Sheva, Ophir, Havilah, and Yobab. All these are the sons of Yoktan. And Peleg his brother brought forth Yain, and Yain brought forth Serug, and Serug brought forth Nahor, and Nahor brought forth Terach, and Terach was 38 years old, and he brought forth Haran and Nahor. And Cush, son of Ham, son of Noah, took a wife in those days in his old age, and she bore a son, and they called his name Nimrod, saying, At that time these sons of men again began to rebel and transgress against Elohim. And the child grew up, and his father loved him exceedingly, for he was the son of his old age. And the garments of skin which Elohim made for Adam and his wife when they went out of the garden were given to Cush, for after the death of Adam and his wife, the garments were given to Henoch, son of Yered, and when Henoch was taken up to Elohim, he gave them to Methuselah, his son. And at the death of Methuselah, Noah took them and brought them into the ark, and they were with him until he went out of the ark. And at their going out, Ham stole those garments from Noah his father, and he took them and hid them from his brothers. And when Ham brought forth his firstborn, Cush, he gave him the garments in secret, and they were with Cush many days. And Cush also concealed them from his sons and brothers. And when Cush had brought forth Nimrod, he gave him those garments through his love for him. And Nimrod grew up, and when he was 20 years old, he put on those garments. And Nimrod became strong when he put on the garments, and Elohim gave him might and strength, and he was a mighty hunter on the earth. He was a mighty hunter in the field, and he hunted the animals, and he built altars, and he offered the animals upon them before Yahweh. And Nimrod strengthened himself, and he rose up from among his brothers, and he fought the battles of his brothers against all their enemies round about. And Yahweh delivered all the enemies of his brothers into his hands, and Elohim prospered him from time to time in his battles, and he reigned on earth. Therefore it became common in those days, when a man sent out those that he had trained up for battle, he would say to them, like Elohim did to Nimrod, who was a mighty hunter in the earth, and who succeeded in the battles that prevailed against his brothers, that he delivered them from the hands of their enemies, so may Elohim strengthen us and deliver us this day. And when Nimrod was 40 years old, at that time there was a battle between his brothers and the children of Japheth, so that they were in the power of their enemies. And Nimrod went forth at that time, and he assembled all the sons of Cush and their clans, about 460 men, and he also hired about 80 men from some of his friends and acquaintances, and he gave them their wage, and he went with them to battle. And when he was on the way, Nimrod strengthened the hearts of the people that went with him, and he said to them, do not fear, neither be alarmed, for all our enemies will be delivered into our hands, and you may do with them as you please. And all the men that went were about 500, and they fought against their enemies, and they destroyed them and subdued them, and Nimrod placed standing officers over them in their respective places. And he took some of their children as security, and they were all servants to Nimrod and to his brothers. And Nimrod and all the people that were with him turned homeward. And when Nimrod had joyfully returned from battle, after having conquered his enemies, all his brothers, together with those who knew him before, assembled to make him sovereign over them, and they placed the royal crown upon his head. And he appointed over his subjects and people princes, judges, and rulers, as is the custom among sovereigns. And he placed Terach, son of Nahor, the prince of his army, and he honored him and elevated him above all princes. And while he was reigning according to his heart's desire, after having conquered all his enemies around, he advised with his counselors to build a city for his palace, and they did so. And they found a large valley opposite to the east, and they built him a large and extensive city. And Nimrod called the name of the city that he built Shinar, for Yahweh had fiercely shaken his enemies and destroyed them. And Nimrod dwelt in Shinar, and he reigned safely, and he fought with his enemies, and he subdued them, and he prospered in all his battles, and his reign became very great. And all nations and tongues heard of his fame, and they gathered themselves to him, and they bowed down to the earth, and they brought him offerings, and he became their master and sovereign, and they all dwelt with him in the city at Shinar. And Nimrod reigned in the earth over all the sons of Noah, and they were all under his power and counsel. And all the earth was of one tongue and words of union. But Nimrod did not go in the ways of Yahweh, and he was more wicked than all the men that were before him from the days of the flood until those days. And he made mighty ones of wood and stone, and he bowed down to them, and he rebelled against Yahweh, and taught all his subjects and the people of the earth his wicked ways. And Mardon his son was more wicked than his father. And everyone that heard of the acts of Mardon son of Nimrod would say concerning him, from the wicked goes forth wickedness. Therefore it became a proverb in the whole earth, saying, from the wicked goes forth wickedness. And it was common in the words of men from that time to this. And Terach, son of Nahor, prince of Nimrod's army, was in those days very great in the sight of the sovereign and his subjects, and the sovereign and princes loved him, and they raised him very high. And Terach took a wife, and her name was Amþelo, the daughter of Cornebo. And the wife of Terach conceived and bore him a son in those days. Terach was 70 years old when he brought him forth, and Terach called the name of his son that was born to him Abram, because the sovereign had raised him in those days, and honored him above all his princes that were with him. Yashar, Jasher, chapter 8. And it came to be in the night that Abram was born, that all the servants of Terach and all the wise men of Nimrod and his astrologers came and ate and drank in the house of Terach, and they rejoiced with him on that night. And when all the wise men and astrologers went out from the house of Terach, they lifted up their eyes toward the Shamayim that night to look at the stars. And they looked, and see, one very large star came from the east and ran in the Shamayim, and it swallowed up the 4 stars from the 4 sides of the Shamayim. And all the wise men of the sovereign and his astrologers were astonished at the sight. And the wise men understood this matter, and they knew its importance. And they said to each other, "This only foretells the child that has been born to Terach this night will grow up and be fruitful and multiply and possess all the earth, he and his children forever, and he and his seed will slay great sovereigns and inherit their lands." And the wise men and astrologers went home that night, and in the morning all these wise men and astrologers rose early and assembled in an appointed house. And they spoke and said to each other, "See, the sight that we saw last night is hidden from the sovereign. It has not been made known to him. And should this matter get known to the sovereign in the latter days, he will say to us, 'Why have you concealed this matter from me?' And then we shall all suffer death. Therefore, now let us go and tell the sovereign the sight which we saw and the interpretation of it, and we shall then remain clear." And they did so, and they all went to the sovereign and bowed down to him to the ground, and they said, "May the sovereign live! May the sovereign live!" We heard that a son was born to Terach, son of Nahor, the prince of your army. And last night we came to his house, and we ate and drank and rejoiced with him that night. And when your servants went out from the house of Terach to go to our respective homes to abide there for the night, we lifted up our eyes to the Shamayim, and we saw a great star coming from the east. And the same star ran with great speed and swallowed up 4 great stars from the 4 sides of the Shamayim. And your servants were astonished at the sight which we saw, and were greatly afraid. And we made our judgment upon the sight, and knew by our wisdom the proper interpretation of it, that this matter applies to the child that is born to Terach, who will grow up and multiply greatly and become powerful, and kill all the sovereigns of the earth, and inherit all their lands, he and his seed forever. And now, our master and sovereign, see, we have truly made known to you what we have seen concerning this child. If it seems good to the sovereign to give his father value for this child, we will slay him before he shall grow up and increase in the land, and his evil increase against us, that we and our children perish through his evil." And the sovereign heard their words, and they seemed good in his sight, and he sent and called for Terach, and Terach came before the sovereign. And the sovereign said to Terach, "I have been told that a son was born to you last night, and after this manner was observed in the Shamayim at his birth. And now therefore give me the child, that we may slay him before his evil rises up against us, and I will give you for his value your house full of silver and gold." And Terach answered the sovereign and said to him, "My master and sovereign, I have heard your words, and your servant shall do all that his sovereign desires. But my master and sovereign, I will tell you what befell me last night, that I may see what advice the sovereign will give his servant, and then I will answer the sovereign on what he has just spoken." And the sovereign said, "Speak." And Terach said to the sovereign, "Ayon, son of Mered, came to me last night, saying, 'Give to me the great and good-looking horse that the sovereign gave you, and I will give you silver and gold and straw and food for its value.' And I said to him, 'Wait till I see the sovereign concerning your words, and see whatever the sovereign says, that I will do.' And now my master and sovereign, see, I have made this matter known to you, and the advice which my sovereign will give unto his servant, that will I follow." And the sovereign heard the words of Terach, and his wrath was kindled, and he considered him in the light of a fool. And the sovereign answered Terach, and he said to him, "Are you so foolish, ignorant, or lacking in understanding to do this matter, to give your good-looking horse for silver and gold, or even for straw and food? Are you so short of silver and gold that you should do this matter, because you cannot obtain straw and food to feed your horse? And what is silver and gold to you, or straw and food, that you should give away that fine horse which I gave you, like which there is none to be had on the whole earth? And the sovereign left off speaking, and Terach answered the sovereign, saying, Like this has the sovereign spoken to his servant. I beg you, my master and sovereign, what is this which you said to me, saying, Give your son that we may slay him, and I give you silver and gold for his value? What shall I do with silver and gold after the death of my son? Who shall inherit me? Only then at my death the silver and gold will return to my sovereign who gave it. And when the sovereign heard the words of Terach, and the parable which he brought concerning the sovereign, it grieved him greatly, and he was troubled at this word, and his wrath burned within him. And Terach saw that the wrath of the sovereign was kindled against him, and he answered the sovereign, saying, All that I have is in the sovereign's power. Whatever the sovereign desires to do to his servant, that let him do. Even my son, he is in the sovereign's power, without value in exchange, he and his 2 brothers that are older than he. And the sovereign said to Terach, No, but I will purchase your younger son for a price. And Terach answered the sovereign, saying, I beg you, my master and sovereign, to let your servant speak a word before you, and let the sovereign hear the word of his servant. And Terach said, Let my sovereign give me 3 days' time, till I consider this matter within myself, and consult with my clan concerning the words of my sovereign. And he pressed the sovereign greatly to agree to this. And the sovereign listened to Terach, and he did so, and he gave him 3 days' time. And Terach went out from the sovereign's presence, and he came home to his clan, and spoke to them all the words of the sovereign. And the people were greatly afraid. And it came to be in the 3rd day that the sovereign sent to Terach, saying, Send me your son for a price, as I spoke to you, and should you not do this, I will send and slay all you have in your house, so that you shall not even have a dog remaining. And Terach hastened, as the matter was urgent from the sovereign, and he took a child from one of his servants, which his female servant had borne to him that day, and Terach brought the child to the sovereign and received value for him. And Yahweh was with Terach in this matter, that Nimrod might not cause Abram's death. And the sovereign took the child from Terach, and with all his might dashed his head to the ground, for he thought it had been Abram. And this was concealed from him from that day. And it came to be forgotten by the sovereign, as it was the matter of providence not to allow Abram's death. And Terach took Abram his son secretly, together with his mother and nurse, and he concealed them in a cave, and he brought them their provisions monthly. And Yahweh was with Abram in the cave, and he grew up, and Abram was in the cave 10 years. And the sovereign and his princes, diviners, and wise men thought that the sovereign had killed Abram.